In this video, I am going to be looking at what I think is a possible issue and then the solution for this Redcat Kaiju breaking these rear control arms, rear upper control arms. Welcome everyone, my name is Troy, this is Roadside RC. On this channel you'll find bashing, crawling, drifting, racing, plus product review videos and how-tos. And today on the workbench, vehicle that I was very excited about when it came out, Redcat Kaiju EXT, longer, better version of the Redcat Kaiju that's been out. But it's been having some teething pains, some growing pains, if you will. Myself, plus many other people, have had issues breaking these upper control arms. Actually, here's a pile of parts that I have from where I have broken them and replaced them. And so I've been doing a lot of thinking, a lot of looking at this vehicle to figure out why it is breaking. It's snapping right here, right at this junction between that turnbuckle and the plastic. That turnbuckle breaks. My working theory as of right now is that the suspension design has so much travel that when you're at maximum travel, the drive shaft to the diff cup plus this upper control arm are actually what's limiting your suspension travel, and that puts that in a bind. I've predominantly broken this right rear side, and it's only been broken after like a backflip, big heavy landing under compression. It has not been breaking under extension at all. But you can see, I mean, I've actually even got, I don't know if you can see it here on the camera. Let's see, GoPro's not very good at detail, but you can see a shiny spot on the drive shaft. That's where the drive shaft's actually been rubbing on the diff cup. So I think the diff cups, either the drive shafts are slightly too long, diff cups are slightly too long, one or the other. I think what we need to do is actually take the diff cup and grind it a little bit shorter so that you free up a little bit of clearance there with the drive shaft. So that's step one. I have not done that one yet, but I think the most important thing here is under compression, we have to limit the amount of movement on this whole corner. So what I have done is, you see it there, is a little piece of fuel tubing. Now this is simply like 7/16 inch fuel line that you can pick up super cheap at the auto parts store, like AutoZones, I mean, any of those kind of places right there. That's 10 millimeters worth of it. On this other side, I put 15 millimeters of it. And now what that does is, as you compress this spring, that shock, it will hit before the whole suspension's actually compressed. And not only will it provide a limit, and it will reduce how much that shock can compress, it actually provides a little bit of a cushion when it does it. Now there's a lot of RCs out there that do something similar. As an example, I had a Losi Super Rock Ray, and it did the same thing. It actually had designed pieces that would go in there, provide some cushion. There's a number of vehicles that do this. I need to do some research and find those and put the links down in below to those specific parts. Otherwise, I'm just going to give you a link to some really cheap fuel tube that you cut to length and stick it on there. I did my first run of this vehicle. I had one battery pack, and in that one battery pack, I jumped my big flat ramp, plus I jumped my big backflip ramp, and I broke 3 rear control arms. So now that I have modified those shocks on both rears, what we're going to do here today is we're going to take this Sakokin 6500 4S LiPo fully charged. I'm going to put it in. Can we do a full 4S battery worth of speed runs and jumps and crashes and backflips and not break it? If I've done that, then I think I've got this whole problem licked. If it doesn't work, I actually have, I think arriving today or tomorrow, a set of Lunsford titanium turnbuckles that should then actually kind of solve that problem. But let's get this battery in. Let's go do some jumps. All right, so we've already done, I don't know, dozen plus jumps out in the front yard. So far, so good. So now it is time for nasty big black backflip jump. See what happens. Woo-hoo, that's a hard hit. Oh, ouch. That was a hard stop. Oh, that was on an angle and everything. Ooh. Ow. Oh, that was a hit. Oh. Just like that, here we are back in the garage. The Coke and battery did great, lasted a really long time. Makes me want to go in and double check that low voltage cutoff as to how long this battery lasted. But look at that, we are officially still running. And now I need to make a correction because I realized I said something that might be important at the very beginning. I forgot to say something that might be very important. So yes, I put my rubber fuel tubing in here as spacers to help with that. The other thing is because I broke so many control arms out of the box, what I ended up with is both of these are actually now front control arms. So I had 2 spare front control arms. Because I broke so many of the rears, I actually had to move the fronts to the rear. And so if you can really see this, I don't know if you really can or not, but when you do, the fronts are the exact same design, but they're just slightly shorter. So that means you have to, in order to correct your camber, you have to unscrew the turnbuckles a little bit, lengthen them out. So I do technically have 2 changes on the rear here in order to fix breaking the rear control arms. 1 is the rubber, 2 is putting front control arms on the rear. Now, I wouldn't think that the front control arms would matter, except when you read the actual note from Redcat, they said that they thought specifically the rear control arms are the ones that were made with the wrong metal. So just simply putting the front ones might be fine. They're a different part number. They're only one part number different. The front ones might be fine. So maybe that's what I'm seeing. Maybe it wasn't a fact that the rubber's on there, but I tell you what, the rubber costs you almost nothing. If you're going to break the rear control arms, put the front ones on. Adjust the turnbuckles out so that your camber's back and you are in good shape. I hope this was useful for you. I'm really going to enjoy this Redcat Kaiju a lot more now that I know that I don't need to worry about those rear control arms. I think there's still something to be done around those rear diff cups and the drive shaft, so I'm going to still keep looking at that. In the meantime, while I'm working on that, please come over here, check out some of the other videos that we've already made, and we will see you in the next video. So thank you for all your support. It really means a bunch to me. Hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications, and we will see you in the next video. Thank you, and goodbye.